I'm Joe DiPietro. I am a playwright and a lyricist. And I started my career, the first show I ever wrote and finished was a show called I Love You, You're Perfect, Now Change, which I wrote with Jimmy Roberts, which was a very small, unassuming comedy about relationships and dating and marriage. And we got produced off Broadway, and the show wound up running for 12 years, becoming the second longest running musical in Broadway history. So that suddenly got people's attention, and suddenly I was able to make a little money as a writer. But you know, as a playwright, I always dreamed of Broadway. And I finally got to have a play on Broadway musical called All Shook Up, which was Elvis Presley songs, and I made a whole original story around them. And everyone, including myself, was very excited about that show, and I was really proud of that show, but unfortunately it didn't, it only ran for a few months. It was not considered a success, and it's very devastating when that happens to you. You know, and whenever a show closes early like that, you know, there's always a lot of, you start questioning yourself and your skills, and suddenly people are not as interested in your work anymore. And I thought, well, I have two options here. One is I could do what a lot of writers do, which is sort of lick my wounds and not write for a while, or go to Hollywood and write for a screenplay or something. But I thought, you know, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do what no one expects, which is to double down and write twice as much. And so I did. So I wound up writing and writing and writing. And 3 years later, I got to come back to Broadway with a show called Memphis, which was a musical I wrote with David Bryan, and that show became a big success. I won the Tony Award for Best Musical, and suddenly I had a career again as a playwright and a writer. So, you know, my career is one having started, like a lot of writers do, you write for a long time and no one really cares, and then, you know, you get a little breakthrough, and then it's sort of your job to fan that flame and really, you know, keep writing and keep getting better at what you do, and also know where the opportunities present themselves, and you have to figure out how to cash in on them. And you know, the advice that I always give to aspiring writers and younger writers is that as a writer, it's your job to figure out what your voice is and how you can best express that voice, and to keep getting better and better at it. Whenever I work on something, I'm a big believer that writing is rewriting. I rewrite it, I do readings of it, I hear it, I talk to smart friends about it, and I rewrite, and I keep trying to make it better and better. I'm not one of those writers who thinks every word is precious that I write. And that's something I can't stress enough for writers. And also, I consider myself a lifelong student of both playwriting and the arts, and also many other subjects. I mean, I think as a writer you need a natural curiosity. You need to constantly educate yourself. I love politics, I love history, I often write about those things. And I think, you know, no one is going to tell you to do this by yourself. You have to keep getting better at writing, and you have to keep finding more and more things to say. Otherwise, I think when people get writer's block is they really run out of things to say. And I think a lot of writers get, you know, one or two things, sort of an early success that people could pay attention to, and then it's hard for them to follow up. I could easily have seen that happening to me, but what I really have tried to do is get better and better, and you know, constantly trying to improve myself, constantly trying to challenge myself, and really sort of pushing on through the times when you know, no one cares what you're writing. That's sort of a, you know, a huge factor in my career, and I always tell any aspiring, you know, writer, you have to do the work. It's a lonely work sometimes. You're sitting alone in a room if you're a playwright, and you're spending a lot of time creating arguments between fictional people, and you have to get jazzed by that. You have to love doing that in order to sort of get anywhere. But you know, it's possible. I mean, I had no connections, I didn't have any formal schooling in playwriting. I just love theater and I love playwriting, and I wanted to figure out how to do it. So I wrote and wrote and wrote, and I think I kept getting better and better at it, and you know, I've been very fortunate to have had some success at it.